Early Monday morning, the 27th of January, the world woke up to the news of the fall of the city of Goma. The M23 movement announced that they had captured the capital city of the eastern DR Congo's North Kivu province after the expiry of a 48-hour deadline for the Congolese Army coalition to surrender their weapons. The Congolese Army coalition included the genocidal FDLR militia, Burundian forces, the European mercenaries, and SADC forces. The residents of Goma did not hide their joy as they welcomed the M23 soldiers after the capture of the city. With this turn of events, East Africa Community Heads of State, led by Kenya's President William Ruto, held an online crisis meeting urging the DR Congo government to hold talks with M23. Wednesday afternoon, the 29th of January, nearly 300 mercenaries who had been fighting alongside the Congolese Army coalition arrived in Rwanda. It was quite a sight to behold as the group, which mainly comprised Romanian mercenaries, crossed to Rwanda after being defeated and disarmed in Goma. At this point, it is important to mention that in 1989, the United Nations adopted the International Convention Against the Recruitment, Use, Financing and Training of Mercenaries, an offense whose penalty is prosecution or extradition. Over in Goma, the guns were silent, but the city bore marks of a fierce battle. The streets were strewn with Congolese army uniforms, ammunition, and abandoned army vehicles. On the 30th of January, the M23 organized a major press briefing in Goma with top officials of the AFC M23 in attendance. Corneille Nangaa, the political head of the AFC M23, outlined the movement's cause.
We are going to struggle. We are fighting for the noble reason, and we have the reason to fight. The reason is that we don't have a country. There is a risk that even we lose the country. We are fighting for Congo people, and our cause is for Congo people. We want Congolese people, refugees, to come down, to come home, back home. We want Congolese to have food, like you in your country, you do. We need Congolese children to go to school and go to school. We need to have health care and so on. You in your country, you have roads. In my country, once you reach the border, no road anymore. So are we going to continue like this? No state, failure of state, we will be in danger, even against you guys. So this is what we are to create the state and to give good life. Living together between communities, no exclusion, no discriminations. Those are the things that have pushed us to fight, and we are going to do from here to the west, mean to Kinshasa, to liberate all the country against this man.
As calm and normalcy returned to the city of Goma, shocking details emerged that the alliance of foreign forces deployed to eastern DR Congo, including the SADC mission known as SAMI-DRC and the genocidal FDLR, had combat objectives not just limited to defeating the M23, but also attacking Rwanda.
It was intention to have FDLR at the head as the most advanced deployment because they know Rwanda very well. They know at least Rwanda more than anyone else there. They are the ones with a long-term plan, intention to destabilize Rwanda. Remember, they have been in Eastern Congo, where they have committed also untold abuses for 30 years now. But also, they are constantly passing on intelligence information.
With the aim of finding a solution to the crisis on Eastern DR Congo, the East African Community and the Southern Africa Development Community, SADC, held a joint summit in Tanzania, a first of its kind, to discuss the security situation in DR Congo. The remains of 14 South African soldiers who died in fighting in Eastern DR Congo were repatriated to their country after being given passage through Rwanda. The fallen soldiers were part of the South African National Defense Force deployed under SAMI DRC. South Africa had over 1,500 troops in DR Congo under the SADC mission deployed in December 2023. South Africa had over 1,500 troops in DR Congo under the SADC mission deployed in December 2023. South African parliamentarians questioned SANDF's mission in the DR Congo during a Defense Committee briefing.
Why are you minister? And why is the president lying to us about the nature of the operation that we have in the DRC? It is not a peacekeeping mission. It is an offensive mission, and it is defined as such by the SADC. Therefore, you knew that our soldiers were going to be shot at, and you knew that you're sending our young men into the DRC to die in the killing fields of the DRC. You did not have the ammunition, you did not have the supplies, you do not have the money to have sent them, but you sent them to die for the mineral wealth that is being looked after, the mines that are being looked after, that belongs to Cyril Ramaphosa, his family, and his friends. On all sides, we have a defense of the mineral wealth rather than for the people of the DRC.
Fighting alongside the Congolese army and the SADC forces are the FDLR militia, a UN and US blacklisted terrorist organization founded by military extremists linked to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. The group has long posed a serious security threat to Rwanda, a fact that is mostly downplayed by the international community.
Most of them minimize the threat of the FDLR. They say that the FDLR, it's an old movement. The people of the members of that movement are now old because the genocide against the Tutsi took place 31 years ago. But what they don't understand, actually I think they understand it, and then they prefer not to listen, is that the FDLR is first and foremost an ideology, genocide ideology that was exported to Eastern DRC. And then based on that ideology, the FDLR has recruited new members.
General Ezekiel Gakwerere, a senior member of the DR Congo-based FDLR genocidal militia, was handed over to Rwandan authorities by the M23. He was among a group of 14 militia fighters handed over at La Corniche one-stop border post in Rubavu district. In their own words, members of the FDLR have confessed to plans to infiltrate Rwandan territory and finish their genocidal plot.
nafashwe ku ngufu nge ntabwo nagiye muri FDLR ku bushake. Ibyo twigishijwe ni ibirebana n'ubumenyi bw'igihugu, uburere mboneragihugu, cyane cyane badushyiramo ko ibyo bakora bitandukanye n'ibyo guverinoma y'u Rwanda ishaka, cyane cyane ko batemeraga iyi guverinoma ngo ariyo n'abakuye mu gihugu, ariyo yakoze politike ndende kugira ngo abaturage n'abasirikare b'u Rwanda n'abayobozi barwo bave mu gihugu. Bati none rero icyo dushaka ni ukugira ngo twishyire hamwe, twunge ubumwe, tuzasubirane ubuyobozi bw'igihugu cyacu, dusubire ku ntebe. Ahanini ni izo politike badushyiragamo zikomeye z'ubukana, zo kugira ngo dukomeze kugira ubugome cyane cyane bwo gusharirira abayobozi b'igihugu.
The Angolan presidency announced the possibility of mediated direct negotiations between the DR Congo government and the M23. This was after President Felix Tshisekedi, who has long denied talks with the rebels, visited his Angolan counterpart. However, after the European Union imposed sanctions against M23 officials, the M23 pulled out of the peace talks. The move by the EU to issue sanctions was seen as ill-timed and aimed at sabotaging the talks.
The timing of the sanction was extremely poor. I mean, you know, the president of Angola took the initiative to ask Congo and the DRC government and the M23 to meet in Rwanda yesterday, in fact. And the sanctions were taken the day before the meeting should have taken place. So it's really a way to torpedoes, to destroy the meeting. I think not only the purpose of the sanction was bad, but the timing was absolutely a disaster. And also, again, the Belgian minister Prévost, he said that, oh, President Kagame is against dialogue. But he was in Doha, meeting President Tshisekedi yesterday. So yes, there is a dialogue. So all this is really wrong. I don't know why he's continuing to put in those lies.
President Paul Kagame and his DR Congo counterpart Felix Tshisekedi and the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, held talks in Doha as part of efforts to solve the crisis in eastern DR Congo. The heads of state agreed on the need to continue the discussions initiated in Doha in order to establish solid foundations for lasting peace as envisioned in the Luanda-Nairobi process, now merged and/or aligned. A joint statement from the State of Qatar, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the Republic of Rwanda read. The government of Angola announced that it was ending its role as mediator in the conflict between DR Congo and the M23. According to a statement released by the Angolan presidency, the country was relieving itself for the responsibility of mediating the conflict in order to comprehensively focus on the general priorities that come with its chairmanship of the African Union. DR Congo's former president, Joseph Kabila, announced that he would return to the country after 6 years of silence and exile. Kabila has criticized President Tshisekedi for mismanaging the crisis, saying it should be resolved through dialogue amongst the Congolese people in order to prevent the country from plunging into civil war. He has also criticized Tshisekedi's use of foreign mercenaries and deployment of foreign troops in the country's problems, which he says must be addressed peacefully. So, what next in this evolving situation in the DR Congo? Is there a likelihood of dialogue and peace? For now, we wait Remain hopeful and see.